Ah, cool. We're recording. I'm just making sure actually, because it's what's that? Just the recording softwares. So this is please not from. It was just the recording facility wasn't showing anything on the screen. It sometimes can be a bit. The recording software, I don't use OBS or anything. I just use the built-in one from Microsoft, and it's not the best, but it works. So we're going to continue playing Star Trek. Let's see how it goes. I've not seen this from the beginning. You know what it does once it's done a save. I think it does it via chapters. Here we go. I was actually surprised about how many people actually watch the video. Watch the videos. Here she is, anyway. Chatter amongst the crew.
All departments reporting full mission readiness. We've got our full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Hey, okay. Bridge.
Captain on the bridge.
Ah, I was just about to wait for that, actually.
Sit. Sit, everyone.
Park your bottoms.
You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
I thought they were damaged. Oh well, anyway.
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar.
Is this from the original Star Trek? It looks like it, doesn't it? Because the other ones are actually inside and using... Oh, I don't know. Those chairs look very uncomfortable. They're like sitting on cylinders. You get a numb bottom. Anyway, a lot of lighting, isn't there?
That should do it. Set a course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me?
Why not? Hey, engage. Why did he show letters and not numbers? Fortunately, he's only got three numbers per
Simple,
question, I think.
But effective.
Sit down on the chair, why don't you? Oh.
Easy. Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
Aliens don't sit on chairs.
You don't look so good.
Oh.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside.
She's got a restrainer on. Oh, I don't think it's a restrainer, it's... right.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on her, but she'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your deuterium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer.
Aram
To
Duval.
be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before. You're...
Rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the Duridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet and managed to thrive. I imagine the
What do you mean, thrive? She nearly
responsibility
died.
must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
It does make me unique, but it's not a burden at all. I'm honored to be Kobliad, to represent my people.
As you should be. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment.
She sounds like a Vulcan, doesn't she?
Science moved the experiments to Solano.
And
You don't
Romulans.
agree with his methods?
I don't
No.
agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. Breakthrough discovery. The major innovation. Something he can put his name on. But the more the time passes and the further out of reach it gets, the more risk he'll be willing to take.
I think after what happened, Captain Solano's learned his lesson. And whatever ambition he once had is on hold for a while.
He may say that, but we'll see what happens. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
I guess word travels fast around here.
It's a small ship, and everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure's almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of Duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Understood.
Then, my work here is done.
Lieutenant Bedrosian.
I came to see if you were okay. We were all pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I don't want anyone to worry. This is just part of who I am. It doesn't define me.
Of course. I completely understand. And I would probably feel the same way if I were you. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your back.
Thank you.
Complete the diagnostic sequence, and this shuttle will be cleared for service.
Yes, sir.
The storm in the Hotari region will interfere with our transporters, so we need all available shuttlecraft in working order.
Excuse me, Commander Trovak.
Petty Officer Maris, I will leave you to your work.
I stopped by sickbay and saw Nilly. I figured you'd want to know.
Did she say anything about... Is she mad at me for going in the hatch first?
She had
No.
some choice words. I tried to smooth things over, but I think you're gonna have to make things right with her yourself. Dr. Duval said she'll be back on duty soon, though.
Take her out on a date,
Let me
she'll
run
be
the final
happy.
diagnostic.
Melville,
I
yeah.
can't stay long.
I never
I've got a long
saw she
to-do
just
list
stayed, did
before we
I?
get to Hotari, and things are piling on faster than I can check them off. We're making all our last-minute checks in security, too.
We'll just have to take things as they come. Control what we can, and roll with the punches.
Next thing you're gonna tell me you're listening to Andorian jazz.
No.
The point is, the right time might never come. So, I'm just gonna roll with it. I had a chance to think about this while I was away. Then you and Millie almost got killed out on the hull. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse.
Miranda, is everything all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Maybe even better than fine.
Oh, she's falling for him or
What
what?
I'm trying to say is,
Oh,
we've been
God.
really good friends for a long
Oh
time.
my God.
But I got back here and I couldn't ignore it anymore.
She fancies
I
him.
want to see if there's more between us.
Oh,
Than just
I
being
hate
friends.
this. This is the person I feel the same way. Oh, let's get him lucky.
You don't have to explain it.
I've been fancying
I
you
feel the same
forever.
way.
Oh, God.
There is something between us.
So, do you want to find out what that something is?
I'll meet you in the quarters
It's there
later.
for you.
Let's see where
And
it
it's there
goes,
for
takes
me.
us. Absolutely. I
Why
won't
not
risk
give it a
our
try?
friendship.
We don't have to put too much pressure on it. Let's just see where this goes.
I like that.
I think it's going to the bed sheets by
Definitely
looks
felt
of
some
it.
pressure coming down the street.
How can I foresee stuff like this?
Uncharted
It's
territories.
getting lucky, isn't it?
I'd call it a chemistry experiment. You know, with us.
I'm just really glad that you said something.
I've seen how you operate. I couldn't wait for you to make the first move.
He didn't make the first
I'm
move, you
glad
said
too.
it.
So whatever happens next is great with me.
Level 1 diagnostic complete.
I have to get back to that to-do list. They're probably looking for me.
Can't blame him.
Gee whiz.
I'll be seeing you.
That's uncomforting to know, isn't it? He's like, oh, look what I'm going to get some tonight. Oh, cast adrift. All right, okay.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Oh,
Ionic
stoned.
interference surging, Captain.
I'm not surprised. Oops.
Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain.
Why don't you just shoot the stones?
Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types.
Okay. It's nothing.
I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
He's
Shuttle to
flying
Resolute.
around.
Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering.
I'm all in a spin.
Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
We
Oh.
won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Little lizard somewhere. If you just heard that sound, wondering what it was.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
Come on, Diaz.
I never known they were doing that. Right, okay, come on.
First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
Right, okay. Ooh. It's gonna hit that stone, isn't it?
We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
Right. Can I actually move that? Whoops. Oh, right, have you got to do it that way? Right, and we need this one here. Oops, sorry. Oh, shyster. Right, we got a rogue brick coming.
That's gonna take out the shuttle. Here's the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Rydek, plot an intercept course.
On it.
Why did you shoot it? Right. Okay.
Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17. 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Zippity doo da, zippity crush.
Got it.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge. We got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
We've got the trash can on board. Whee! Oh.
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock.
Oh, Spock. Beam me up, Spotty.
The
Kcin
captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
He's always had a good voice, him, Leonard Nimoy. I think that might be the thumbnail, actually.
That was a bumpy ride. All right, sir?
There are some elements of space travel that I would prefer to have left in my youth, but I am, at present, unharmed by the ordeal. It appears I have you to thank for my safe arrival. Your assistance arrived not a moment too soon, if I may say so.
Well, it wasn't all me. I got some help from upstairs.
A bombastic approach to clearing debris. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
Yes, it would seem further investigation is called for.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical, Petty Officer...
Carter Diaz. Sir.
Thank you.
Ambassador Spock.
I think it's the first time I've ever seen Spock
I'm
smile.
honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already
He's actually
behind.
taller than I in real life, innit? I don't know. I know it's a video game, and they can make him any size they wanted. They make him the size of a pea if they wanted. I don't know. Does that mean we see the Enterprise? Provocation to war. Okay.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
You are a legend, Ambassador. There's not an officer in Starfleet that doesn't know of your career.
I would never assume that to be the case.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Lydia and Hotari. The Lydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Illydians have shared a mining operation there. The Illydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Illydians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
Have the Illydians retaliated against the Hotari? Or taken any action against them?
Surprisingly, they have not yet responded in kind.
There will be
They
time.
are open to a Federation presence, but it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Illydian fleet in open war. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
If we could convince them, it would restore the peace. But we would need the Hotari to accept a difficult compromise.
Made all the more difficult by the emotions flaring on both sides, no doubt.
Neither the Illydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Illydians as a source of dilithium.
That certainly changes things.
The Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
We could use that as leverage with the Illydians. They'll want the Federation to continue buying from them.
There might be something to that, Commander.
Putting that on the table could make the Hotari more hostile.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Illydium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the ion storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Illydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
If it's keeping the two sides talking instead of shooting at each other, that actually helps us negotiate a peace.
And we'll take advantage of that as long as it works in our favor.
And when it doesn't?
All the more reason to learn as much about it as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught unprepared, should the energy anomaly continue to fluctuate. so I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly knows how to say the right things. At least when she wants to. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
I'm perfectly happy to work outside the lines.
And by extension, you will be doing your duty, Commander.
Just not too far outside the lines. Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.
They took the time on Leonard Nimoy's character, haven't they? The design and stuff. I don't know whether or not that is actually his voice or whether or not it's AI now, because AI can make that. Can do that. Navigational complexities. Okie dokie. Here she's back. She wants to slap him. Does she fancy him or not?
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with.
The Ambassador asked me to take a look, and I'm ready to crack this thing open.
Good. You could learn from Mr. Diaz's focus.
I'll take notes.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
One nice thing about Vulcans, Chobok is the only person who didn't look at this and treat me like I was something to pity. Doc says I should get used to it. Doesn't mean I want to be reminded of it every minute of the day.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing to see here.
Good. Look, I hate saying this, but every once in a while you shouldn't listen to me. Like when I'm half concussed telling you to go first. This isn't one of those times, though. Come on, let's get to the bottom of this.
I thought there was a bug in the graphics, but those blue dots in the background, it's the shield, isn't it? I thought the graphics card was having some issues, but it isn't.
Let's run the diagnostic.
Right. Beep, 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 beep. Diagnostics. Dink. 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 Okay. Begin diagnostics. Dink.
So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
Yeah, she fancies me.
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation.
Hey, what is
I'm
pants?
happy for you.
Sorry.
Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me. And I know you'll respect that.
You really don't believe in me, huh?
It's not you. Or
it's me.
just
me.
running the numbers, and things don't work out more often than they do. I like my friends and I like our group. I don't want to lose that.
I think she fancies him enough.
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something.
Maybe the batteries died. Whoop. Okay.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Remote control by the looks of it.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
Yeah, the error code here. What?
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
So basically, the magnet reversed.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
Right, okay.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer.
Do
You want to
it.
check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll do the warp
I'll check the
coils.
nacelles for a cracked coil.
Right, so okay. 2, equip holster and scan for objects. Okay. 2. Check her out. Sorry guys. Right, okay. Can you not go around? I take it these are the warp cells. Okay, right, okay. I think we're done these ones.
checked every coil on the port nacelle for imbalances. If any coil in either engine were cracked, I would have detected it. So...
Well, you've only checked one.
Must be the navigation array.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Hey. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Hi. Hey, how are you doing,
We're escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
You're the one with the important job to do. Keeping the captain safe. And Ambassador Spock.
It doesn't always feel that way. Baking in the hot sun, standing guard next to an empty shuttlecraft. But it has its moments.
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
All aboard for Atari. Hotari.
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole steam engines were the warp drives of their day part.
I keep thinking Atari is Atari for some strange reason. I don't know why.
Miss your train.
It's a train, okay.
I do have to go.
Don't kiss.
Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now.
Do me a favor. Come back safe.
Deal.
Come back as a Romulan.
Be seeing you.
Famous last words.
Etzelarda Diaz. If you could float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go.
Okay.
All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it.
It's an old server,
Okay,
isn't it?
the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Looks like an ideal computer. What do you call it? IBM Ideal, is it? Alright, okay.
Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Is it the same animation?
Field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
And then you become sitting ducks. Seat of power.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solano, welcome to Hotari.
She's a looker, isn't she?
My name is Tyler Saltaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours, and this is Commander Jara Rydek, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Illydians.
We are honored to be here as representatives of the Federation.
I'm so glad.
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation. The reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But either way,
that's like Nimoy in
we're
again.
grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Oh, here we go.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
Charming.
If you'll excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here, but that guy was something.
He certainly seems full of himself. No missing that. You could probably see it from orbit.
What a piece of work.
Remember, we are here at their invitation. We must remain deferential whenever possible.
Of course, but even that has its limits.
Fair enough. That's your well, she's not human, is she? And he's a Vulcan, so.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Illydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war.
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced.
She's charming, isn't she?
Point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
I get the sense she's cut from the same cloth as Galvin. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not
She
part
can
of...
speak for herself, can't she? Then let her. Now then, one should know their place. What you might be somewhere else is not what you are here. Which is standing before a queen. And a queen deserves respect. A bow is not too much to ask. Is Hotari Prime, heart of the Hotari system.
My apologies, Your Majesty. I meant no disrespect.
Better. You are Kobliad. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Elidians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Elidians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
There is no remedy for what the Kobliad suffered. And I fear who we might have become in pursuit of it. There is no justice if the oppressed become the oppressor. So I would willingly accept a peaceful resolution if it were offered. That is the real opportunity.
You may be right. Unfortunately, that was not the case, was it?
No, it was not.
Peace is often elusive to those who need it most. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
As Ambassador Spock has said, we've come seeking a peaceful resolution to this conflict, and have no interest in your dilithium.
I'm not nearly as naive as you must think. The Federation has done business with the Elidians for decades, which makes me question your motives.
No, okay.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Elidian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lie! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, Who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alidians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
If there can only be one, then it would be in the best interest of all involved if the Alidians resumed operation of the mines.
And that is why we should not trust our fate to the Federation.
She speaks sense. You do well to listen to her.
And you do well to hold your tongue.
We will take back our minds by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spill.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I would agree, Ambassador Spock.
God, she got bigger muscles than me.
I think this is best left to those of us with more experience in diplomatic matters.
Yeah. Oh, shyster.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Right, so she's got to do some research. Come on then, missus. Can you run? No. I'm asking anyone with a gun. Yeah, we'll take Hulk. Let's have a look at Hulk. Can you speak to him? No. Okay, any of these? Oh, you can speak to him. Speak to Sidron.
Commander, after hearing so much about the Federation's sense of fairness and justice, I was surprised that you sided with the Alidians. In all honesty, I expected more, especially from someone like you.
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict. Our only interest is peace.
On the Alidians' terms, apparently.
I assume you were there, the day the mines were seized from the Alidians.
Not seized. Reclaimed. And restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there.
If you paint him green, he'll look like the Hulk, won't he?
Before the Alidians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
Did you have help from someone else?
Hotari stands alone against the Alidian forces. We don't need help from anyone. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. Ready to contend with anything the Alidians might have in store. Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
It wasn't designed as a warship. More for scientific research and exploration.
But the Federation must have ships designed for war.
Technically, they're Starfleet ships representing the Federation. But yes.
I see.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
That's comforting, isn't it? Right. What's this here? This. What's that? Okay. Water.
Soothing.
So I take it you don't drink water. Right, I can't sit to these. So I've got to talk to these other things over here. Supposedly greys.
I have to say, I fully expected you to side with the Hotari. But obviously the Federation wants a steady supply of dilithium. Something only we can offer. Without Lydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. Left to the Hotari, it would be nothing short of a disaster.
We're not on either side. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price? Major Sarlet Arminta, Special Attaché, Lydian Armed Forces. A pleasure to meet you.
Commander Rydek, First Officer, USS Resurgence.
Yes. A research ship, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
You sound skeptical.
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You said the Hotari were primitive.
Well, they are.
Except for the part about weaponizing ion storms.
Yeah.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Rydek.
Commander, if I could have a quick word with you.
Of course.
Commander Rydek, I have to admit, I was surprised when you said the Illidians should control the dilithium trade. I was under the assumption the Federation was neutral. But maybe I was wrong.
I can assure you, we aren't on anyone's side. We are and will remain completely neutral. You have my word.
I hope that's true. For all of our sakes. I saw you speaking with the Illidian. I'm sure they're painting themselves as the victims.
The Illidians are under the impression the Hotari are somehow the cause of the ion storm.
Which I'm sure they attribute to our lack of experience or sheer inferiority. But we are as much the victims of this horrific storm as they are. For the first time in our history, the Hotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now they have the Queen's ear. For better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I get the sense you don't exactly trust them.
They're miners, not diplomats. I don't trust their instincts, which are leading us to war. My fear has been that the Illidians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of. It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Was it for fear of the repercussions, once the Federation became part of the equation?
Possibly. But I almost want to say this was from the very start. Before engaging the Federation was even on the table.
I think we'll be shutting up shop now, actually. We've been on this for an hour.
No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. But that's what concerns me. Whatever they're hiding, it can't be good.
How can we know?
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Thank you. I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
A spy for the Federation. Yeah. Right, guys, we're calling it a day because we've been doing an hour of this. It's time for a break. Let's see how we go. We're getting there, aren't we? Right, your crew. Right, guys. There we go. Seal of power. Right, okay. So we're going to call it a day now, guys. I'll see you in the next.